Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the April 30th, 2022 solar eclipse in Taurus. Now, there's going to be a solar eclipse in Taurus on April 30th, 2022. Solar eclipse in astrology is like a new moon, but much more amplified and intensified. It can be a period of life-altering new beginnings or ones that will be much more sustained and protracted than a regular new moon. There can be a prodigious amount of energy at this time. One can feel exceptionally rejuvenated and revitalized. Now, things that were frivolous and superfluous and may have held you back, may now be discarded, and it's time where you can start something brand new. Being in Taurus, this may be done with much latent energy behind strong powers of stamina and endurance, and may be done with a lot of determination and persistence. And this, solar eclipses can give really a tremendous initiative and enterprise. And you may feel like nothing can hold you back at this point in time. What may have inhibited and prohibited you before may not be there now. And now, everyone collectively may be impacted by this solar eclipse, but especially people with a Taurus or Cancer sun, or ascendant Taurus, of course, because it's going to be in their own sign. And the zodiac sign Cancer, well, because the moon rules Cancer, and Cancer is simply affected strongly by all transits and phases of the moon. Now, perhaps this is largely attributed to why the zodiac sign Cancer is so fickle, moody, and temperamental, and this will be especially intensified for Taurus if it makes a conjunction to their sun, moon, or ascendant. Now, for some, it may be the beginning of doing something that requires much tenacity, persistence, and determination. It may be done with very strong powers of concentration, and it could be something where one is determined not to let the extraneous things interfere with whatever they're doing. It may be the beginning of peace and stability for some, and the fact that it's taking place at a solar eclipse, it could be one that's very much more intensified and pronounced and could last for sustained and protracted time. And also, too, for some, it could manifest in a Taurian career, especially if it falls in the second, sixth, or 10th house in the chart, what I call basically the career money houses. And it can be maybe something associated with geology, finance, banking, agriculture, architecture, or gardening, even carpet laying. Um, it may be the start of a pawnbroker business for some. It could even be a position that involves that Taurian trustworthiness, such as working as an armored guard transporting money. Now, in some instances, this could manifest in solar eclipse can manifest in the departure of a male figure, and it could be somebody that played a provocative role in your life. It can be some cases it may be a husband, could be the father, or a prominent male friend. It may be a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant person, or one that simply embodies those characteristics. It may be someone that's very persistent, trustworthy, loyal, steadfast, determined, and persevering. It could be a person that has much patience and very strong powers of endurance and concentration. Now, let's say if this falls in the seventh house as an example, it could increase the chances of it being a significant other, a marriage partner. If it falls in the 10th house, it can there may be a greater chance of it being the father. The dominant parent. 10th house is the dominant parent, which is often the father or an authority figure. Now, if it falls in the 11th house, it could be a friend. Now, again, it's important to look at the house this falls in, as this could impact its delineation and interpretation for you. Now, in my case, it's going to fall in the 12th house in my chart. Now, I'm hoping it could be the start of something, monetary connected with the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Um, it could reflect in starting something with more persistence and trying to work through limitations, since the 12th house is limitations, Taurus is persistence, and even on a deeper level for me, it may manifest or be expressed in having the awareness in being conscious. This is the sun of what it means to be affluent and rich. And Taurus, of course, is associated with affluence. It's what's connected with money, in being rich. Now, and the thing is, the fact that it is in my 12th house may indicate that, what I might have perceived as affluence and riches might be an illusion. It may be a time of understanding more about being affluent, perhaps more on a spiritual level. Now, maybe this has something to do, with certain patterns in my life, behavioral patterns in my life, which is the sun, that were very monotonous, which is Taurus, and being in the 12th house. Maybe it's tied in with self-sabotaging. Ironically enough, I have a Taurus ascendant, so I understand, just living a life that has been, very monotonous, very predictable, for me, to say the absolute least. So, see what else is going on with this thing. Now, I want to say as well that a new moon solar eclipse can be, generally auspicious. I believe, in certain instances, though, it may be the onset of beginning of a health-related issue, especially if it falls in the first or sixth house in one's chart. Now, the fact this is a solar eclipse can indicate it could be more intensified and serious than a regular new moon. There may be the start for some people of a serious throat or neck-related issue, such as a herniated disc. Now, I wouldn't completely eliminate throat cancer, as a possibility for some. Now, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's something like esophageal, varices, can be a remote possibility for some, considering the esophagus does have the connection with Taurus. And I would say, especially if this transit were to make an adverse or even an inconjunct aspect to one's Jupiter, because Jupiter does rule the liver, and this disease has a connection with, with the esophagus, like I stated before, and so the thing about this is, it's also important to look at the transits this makes to points in the chart, as this could impact its delineation and interpretation for you. Now, this is going to make a sextile to my natal sun in Cancer. Now, by itself, the aspect can indicate an ability to take action, which is the sun, in something, in having the focus and drive, which is the sun, again, to do it. Again, the transit sun, making a sextile to my natal sun. And with the transit sun in Taurus hitting, being in traversing my 12th house, I should say, this could be about taking action, which is the sun, with much determination, which is Taurus, to deal with a situation that may have been monotonous, which is Taurus, and limiting, which is the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of limitations. Now, with this making a sextile to the sun in Cancer, this may be done while being focused, which is the sun, on something home-related, which is Cancer, a short journey, which is the third house. So my natal sun in Cancer is actually in the second house, but it makes a tight conjunction to my third house cusp. Now, the solar eclipse is going to fall at 10 degrees Taurus. Now, as far as saving symbols go, it can be a degree of avarice and materialism. If a person embarks on some business venture, which which you have planning on being very sustained, it's important to not become dominated by the monetary aspect of it. Yes, the idea is, when you start a business, is to generate money. However, at the same time, it's important, that if substantial money is made, that you can help, to help others as well with that money that is made. And the thing is, It's also important to keep in mind, to truly enjoy what you're doing as well, and without just being consumed by the money that is made in doing so. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.